Oh, I wanted to change something this week. There's this little toggle switch on the back of my microphone. I sounded weird last week, so I wanted to switch it a little bit. Can I like my own video? Bummer. Welcome to KO Bets. Name's Bill. Basically, what we do on the channel is we place picks, prop bets, parlays on the upcoming UFC fights. I apologize. I didn't. This was a tough card. I didn't have too much time to look at tape this week. Apologize for logging on late. What am I, 2 hours late? Fashionably late, right? Like my idol. Sorry, mates. Just don't give a fuck. Just kidding. No, I'll try and be better. I would like to do my streams. I would like to do my streams at 7 p.m. every Friday and Monday. Friday nights, we'll do the picks. Monday night, we'll do fight review. I am looking forward to this fight card, but I mean, I don't know what I expected. A fight card headlined by Uriah Hall and Jake Strickland. Is it Jake? I went to high school with Jake Strickland. Let me make sure it's Sean. Uriah Hall against Sean Strickland. Sorry, I went out to eat. Had a couple of these ginger martinis. You know what? They don't pay me anything, but this episode's sponsored by the city of Geneva. If you're ever in Geneva, Illinois, or ever in Illinois in the western suburbs, pay Geneva a trip. Lots of good restaurants, tons of good food, tons of good drinks. So really enjoyed my time. I'm still learning how to navigate YouTube here. Would really love to understand how to toggle between viewing screens. Like, I don't know if I click on my UFC tab, I don't know how to get it to pop up here. It's kind of messed up. But anyways, I don't know what you can expect on a card headlined by Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland. They might as well make this whole fight card a part of the Contender Series, because there's a ton of fighters that came up on Dana White's Contender Series. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. In the first bout, we got Phil Rowe coming in at 7-3 against Orion Kosuke at 7-0. Phil Rowe carries plus 150 odds. Kosuke minus 150. Rowe is 0-1 in the UFC. He does have a unanimous decision loss on his record. Came up through the Contender Series. He's the first fighter of many I'll talk about that came up on the Contender Series. Historically, all of his wins have come inside the distance, all 7 of them. Orion, no fights in the UFC. He's making his debut. He's another Contender Series guy, and all 7 of his fights have ended inside the distance. So on this fight, I like Orion. We're going to go with the new guy. And he's minus 150 odds. I definitely do not like this fight going the distance, but that's minus 190, so I'd probably fade that bet and just bet on Orion at that point. But because I do like it inside the distance, you can get Orion on the KO or submission that result for plus 140. And I use DraftKings to place my bet. So if you're ever searching for these odds or where to find them, granted, I did write these down yesterday as I was making some notes, looking at SureDog, reviewing some I guess, interviews with some of these guys just to see where they're from, where they train, that kind of stuff. So I was making some notes here. In the next bout, we have Ronnie Lawrence against Trevin Jones. Ronnie's coming in with a 7-1 record, minus 150 odds. He's 1-0 in the UFC. And then we got Trevin Jones, 13-6 with 1 no contest, plus 130. He's 1-0 with 1 no contest in the UFC. Out of 6 of his losses, 3 of them have been split decision losses. So, you got to take those with a grain of salt. Let me fix this. But, I think in this fight, I'm going to just go with the favorite again, Ronnie Lawrence. We're going to take Ronnie Lawrence at minus 150. In the next bout, and I apologize, usually I try to do a little bit more for these, but, with the lack of time to prepare for this and everything, we're just going to fly through it. So Jinyu Frey in the next bout, 10-6, plus 125 odds. She is 1-2 in the UFC. I think she had her one win was an armbar submission, but I think she was losing that fight up until then. And then she's going off against Ashley Yoder, 8-7, minus 145 odds. Both of these fighters are decision machines. So if I were to take a fighter straight up in this, it would be Ashley Yoder on the money line with minus 145 odds. I'm willing to bet, the prop bet for the fight to go the distance, minus 360. Let's see, winning methods. So if we like Yoder, she's plus 100 odds for a decision victory. Neither one of these girls really ends fights within the distance. I guess it's conceivable that Jinyu Frey could get that submission win. Same with Ashley, but I anticipate this is going to be a pretty good bout. It's going to go all 3 rounds, finish, as a decision. And then, I think Ashley's just in a better position to outpoint Jinyu Frey. In the next bout, we got Danny Chavez. Here, let me pull up my UFC, even though you guys can't see it because I can't figure out what the hell I'm doing. We'll pull this up here, and just so I can look along with it. Because I'm pretty sure some fights got moved around. So I'll do this Danny Chavez versus Kai Kamaka bout, and then we'll go on to a fight that I think they changed some stuff. Someone's not on the card anymore, but they switched some fights around. I missed the Benoit fight earlier in this, but I could have sworn yesterday I saw him closer to the main card. So they must have switched some stuff around. So anyways, Danny Chavez, minus 105 odds. He's 1-1 in the UFC. Kai Kamaka comes in at minus 115 odds. He's 1-2 in the UFC. If we're looking at their finishing percentages, both of these guys have over, 70% of their victories coming via decision. So I kind of like this fight to go the distance. I think as far as the fighter I want to choose, I think I'm going to go with Kai Kamaka on the money line. Definitely like that. And then does the fight go the distance as a prop bet? That's minus 175 odds. So, I don't feel I'd probably fade that opportunity. If we go under winning methods, Kai Kamaka to win via decision is only plus 130 odds. So, those are a couple of alternative bets you could place in this bout. They're both decision machines. I just think Kai Kamika's pace is a little bit better than Danny Chavez's. Does he get tired? Yeah, but you're going to do that when you're throwing, above 5.5 strikes, significant strikes per minute. So, I think he's a little more accurate as far as the stand-up game. They both have a tendency to, at least implement the takedowns throughout the fights. I think that would be to the advantage of Danny Chavez, but I'm not really sure. It just seems like he utilizes that maybe a little bit more in his fights, or maybe it's just the fact that he's got a little bit higher takedown accuracy. I don't know if I should really perceive him as the better grappler, but I think overall I just like Kai Kamika on this fight. So I'm going to take him at minus 150. We'll go back to Ryan Benoit against Zaruk Adashev. So Ryan Benoit has fought some really nice talent. However, he's 3-5 in the UFC, definitely still trying to find his legs and string together a solid win streak. But he's gone up against Brandon Moreno, who's obviously the belt holder of the division. He fought him to a split decision loss, if you can believe that. Zaruk Adashev, I believe he's 0-2 in the UFC. He's coming in at plus 120 odds. I just really like Ryan Benoit in this. To be perfectly frank, I don't know if he's going to be capable of knocking out Zaruk. But that's kind of what I like Ryan Benoit to do in this fight. So if we're looking at an alternative line for this fight, and I'm kind of doing this on the fly because it got late tonight. I was out in town with the girlfriend and her family, and I just didn't have time to address some of this stuff. All right, so Ryan Benoit to win via KO, that's actually plus 350 odds. And then for the decision, it says plus 165. I don't know if they assume this is going to be a grappling match or what, but I kind of like Benoit to, dominate this fight in all facets and figure out a way to put away Zaruk Adashev, inside the distance. So I'm going to say I'm definitely interested in that KO. Sometimes with the lighter fighters, it seems like their fights don't end in as many knockouts, simply because they're super fast, wicked quick, great grapplers, but it just almost seems like they lack the power to put away their opponent. I don't think Ryan Benoit lacks that, but you just never know with the light guys. I'm not trying to talk shit about the division. It's just something I perceive as a fight fan. You get a real high pace typically, lots of strikes thrown, lots of strikes absorbed, and at the end, it's never a surprise that it goes to decision. So just keep that in mind. You might be better off. None of these fights are really bad odds. Again, I think they did a great job of matchmaking this week. But that being said, I think Benoit is clearly the more accomplished and obviously more experienced, and I think he's going to be the better fighter. He could be sending Zaruk out of the promotion, to be honest. I don't know. 0-3, that's not a great way to start in the UFC. So, he is from Uzbekistan. So we'll definitely have to see what happens in that fight. I think I would fade that KO bet that I put out there, even though I do think he's capable of doing that. And I would just bet on Benoit, you know? I'm going to take those minus 140 odds. That's not bad. So skipping back to where we left off after Kai Kamaka against Danny Chavez, we got Chris Gruitzmacher against Rafa Garcia. Chris is plus 250 odds, 2-3 in the UFC. Rafa's 12-1, minus 320 odds, 0-1 in the UFC. Rafa is a very good submission artist. Chris Gruitzmacher is just a gamer, though, and pushes forward. I think I for sure like this fight to end inside the distance. I'm not sure why Rafa's getting minus 320 odds. He probably warrants a little bit of respect, obviously, in the money line, but minus 320 odds, that's pretty tough. I definitely think this fight is capable of ending inside the distance. I'm curious what the odds indicate, just from a betting trends perspective. Let's see. Here he is. So it's about a 50-50 split. Does the fight go the distance? Minus 125 odds for no. Minus 105 odds for yes. I mean, I kind of like the fight not to go the distance. So I'm going to write that down as a potential prop play. Minus 125 odds that it doesn't go the distance. I don't think that's a bad pick to make, especially with Rafa Garcia's crazy money line. I really hate to sometimes make those determinations here. I'm going to look at also Chris's record just to see in those 3 losses, what kind of fights he put on. Okay. So he fought against Alex Hernandez, Joe Lawson. Okay, and then in 2 fights in a row, he was submitted by Ramos and Skelly back in 2017. Now, granted, that was a while ago. And since then, he KO'd Joe Lawson, and he got KO'd by Hernandez. But, I mean, and to be clear, like, Hernandez is not a great striker. So I think I'm going to go with Rafa Garcia. Really like, his potential submission prowess in this fight. I'd be curious what the odds were for him to win via KO and submission. Plus 110 odds. That's not bad either. Let me write that down. So I think the fight not going the distance at minus 120, or picking a winning method where Rafa wins inside the distance via TKO or submission. At plus 110 odds, that's a huge improvement over minus 320. And I wouldn't say it's a sure thing, but it sounds nice to me. In the next fight, we got Colin Aglin at plus 120 odds against Melsik Bagdasaryan. I like that. That sounds better. Melsik Bagdasaryan. Melsik's coming in at minus 140 odds, Colin plus 120. They're both making their UFC debuts. Both a part of the Contender Series again. For Melsick, 5 out of 6 of his fights have ended in round 1. So, is this going to be a KO? It kind of seems like this is being set up for a KO. Now, Colin Anglin, he does have more of a wrestling background, so I think if it stays on the feet, I think that it is advantage Melsick. It's just a question if he's going to thrive in this environment on the big stage, be able to keep the match on the feet. If he is taken down, is he able to get up easily? I guess that's all to be determined on Saturday night. I'm going to go with Melsick at minus 140 odds. I don't think that's bad. And if you're going with Melsick, right, you might as well bet on a finish, right? So let's see what Melsick's odds are for. So does the fight go the distance? Minus 115 for no. For an inside the distance result for Melsick, so winning via KO or submission, is plus 180. And then minus 115 for inside the distance. Yeah. So, just the pace of fights that Melsick appears to push as far as his output and yeah, I'm kind of wondering if it's a wise idea to even bet on him on the money line, or if you just bet that it's going to end inside the distance. I wonder how he'll look relative to Colin Anglin in the later rounds, especially round 3 or whatever. If he gets through 2 rounds, he could win a decision. Let's see what Colin Anglin's done as far as his fight history. They have nothing on DraftKings. That's wild. So Colin Anglin has won 4 of his last 5 fights in pro MMA by KO, TKO, or DQ. And then he's won 7 in a row. So I kind of really like the inside of the distance pick at minus 115. That seems like fucking primo odds, right? On something that's likely to happen with these 2 fighters. Fuck yeah. Let's do it. I love that. And then if you feel strongly about either fighter, you could bet on a finish inside the distance, and I'm sure you'll get an improvement on their odds. Again, Colin's got plus 120, and Melsick's got minus 140. On my money line pick, I guess I'll go with Melsick. But, I mean, we'll see how his pace and everything holds up in this fight. Yeah, this is so weird how they shifted shit around on me. So in our next bout, we got Bryan Barberena against Jason Witt. Bryan Barberena minus 275. He's got losses to top tier talent. Kobe Covington, Leon Edwards, Vincent Luque, Randy Brown. Jason Witt comes in with plus 220 odds. He's 1-2 in the UFC. Only 6 out of his 25 pro fights have ended with a decision. Bryan Barberena is just going to push forward in this fight. He pushes a nice pace. He's a gamer. He's a brawler when he gets into the octagon. I kind of like as a prop bet, like, does this fight go the distance? No is minus 200 odds. So if I'm taking Brian Barberena on the money line, which I am, I don't think that's, I mean, I kind of like that. Fight go distance. Shit on bus. Fight go distance? No. Minus 200 odds. Nice. A little bit of an improvement over Brian Barberena's minus 275 odds. Obviously, if you like Jason Witt, take him. Plus 220 odds, that's fucking sick if you win. Take him. But I definitely think it's pretty likely that the fight would end inside the distance. In the next fight here, we got Nicholas Stoltz against Jared Gooden. Stoltz carries a minus 200 odds value as the favorite. He's 0-1 in the UFC. And then we got Jared Gooden. He's plus 170. He's 0-2 in the UFC. I think on the money line, I hate to do all favorites, and I'm not going to. But I think I just like Stoltz. And if we're looking at some of their stats, Stoltz is on a Stoltz is relatively new. He had the decision loss in the UFC. But then Jared Gooden has a decision loss, but he's lost to Joban and Nurmagomedov. Not the retired one, the one that's still fighting. I don't know what his relationship is to Habib, but I think if we look at their bouts, it's going to be tough to pick the method of victory. I think Gooden's going to have probably a more of a pace in here. Stoltz did appear a lot taller in the weigh-in, but I don't know if, it says Stoltz is 6'1" and Gooden's 6 foot. I don't know if Stoltz was in heels and Gooden was barefoot, but it looked like there was a bigger discrepancy there. Gooden's got the reach advantage. I don't really feel comfortable picking a method of victory. Let me see. Let me just look something up. There's a reason I specifically liked Stoltz, and I didn't write it down. Yeah, so he's definitely had a well-rounded assortment of results under his record. And same kind of goes with Gooden. The more I'm looking at this, the more I kind of like Jared Gooden at plus 170. I'm going to change my pick live here. We're going to go Jared Gooden, 27 years old. Stoltz is only 28, so it's not like there's a huge difference. He's from Germany. His nickname's the Green Mask. It says he fights out of SBG Ireland and team. So just to be clear, that's like where Connor came from, Artem, those guys. Yeah, I just don't perceive him as being like a particularly one-dimensional striking guy. You know what? Screw it. We're switching back. We're going with Nicholas Stoltz. He's the favorite. We want to be right on as many fights as possible. We're going to take him. Moving on. Cheyenne Bias against Gloria DePaula. Cheyenne comes in with minus 170 odds. She's 0-1 in the UFC. Contender Series, Gloria DePaula, plus 150 odds, 0-1 in the UFC. Contender Series fighter. So both are from the Contender Series here. I think as far as their odds, I think for some reason I like this fight to go the distance. That's what I have written down. So let's just look up. Yeah, each of Cheyenne Bai's last 6 pro fights have gone the distance. Yeah, it says she's won 4 of her last 5 via decision. She took a decision loss to Ruiz. And Gloria DePaula took a decision loss. So I don't know if you can really... Yeah, it's not quite a pick'em. But I don't know if you can really confidently bet on that Cheyenne to win via decision. That's minus 115 odds. Like, at that point, I would just take Cheyenne on the money line. Does the fight go the distance? Yes is plus 330, minus 330 odds. Not very good there. I'll probably just take Cheyenne on the money line. In the next bout, we got Kung Ho Kang against Rani Yaya. For some reason, like, these guys are not on my DraftKings app. Like, this fight is nowhere to... Oh, yeah, here it is. So, Ho Kang comes in with minus 120 odds. Mr. Perfect's the nickname, with a 17-8 record and a no contest. Perfectly imperfect. Rani Yaya, 27-10-1 with 1 no contest. I think I like Kung Ho Kang. I think Ronnie's a submission specialist. Yeah, he is. Although Ho Kang does have quite a few submissions on his record as well. He's from South Korea. I recognize that flag from Aikido growing up. So each of Ho Kang's last 4 UFC fights against orthodox opponents have gone the distance. And then he's won 6 out of his last 7. Yeah, I like him on the money line. I do think there's potential for the fights to be ended inside the distance, though. I think that's kind of likely. Although, I don't know if it's a brick wall situation where they're just going to be in a standoff. So does the fight go the distance? Minus 125 odds for yes, minus 105 odds for no. I guess it all depends if you think someone's going to get submitted or not. Yeah, it doesn't seem like people are finding it the 2 favorite outcomes are Kung via decision, or Ronnie Yaya to win via submission. So I think if you're, looking at a fighter who's going to end it inside the distance, it's more likely going to be Ronnie. I don't know. I'm going to take Kung Ho Kung. I think it'll probably go to the distance. I think he'll probably piece him up on the feet. I guess we'll see. I'm not going to nominate a legit prop bet for that. I just don't like it. And then in the main bout, we've got Uriah Hall against Sean Strickland. I am a big fan of both of these fighters. I don't quite understand why Uriah Hall's the underdog in this, though. I mean, so I don't think the fight's going the distance. I think that's a lock. Oh, sorry. By the way, Hall carries plus 170 odds, and Sean carries minus 200 odds. So I can tell you, I'm very confident this fight's going to end inside the distance, and I think Uriah Hall is going to put away Sean Strickland. That's just my belief. I think Hall's a extremely good stand-up fighter. Obviously, everyone raves about Sean Strickland's jab, but I've seen Uriah Hall land his jab on some of the best fighters in the world. If we're talking about his resume, he's got a pretty impressive resume. I saw him, before he ended up getting knocked out, tiring himself out almost. He was just really hitting that jab on Paulo Costa, some of the more dangerous stand-up strikers. And it's not like Sean Strickland's never been KO'd before. Granted, it was, a lighter division? Was it 155, or was he up at... Oh, no, he was at 170, and he's going up to 185, I think, now. I think that's the deal. But I think I like Uriah Hall in this fight. I think I like him to win via KO inside the distance. So just looking at the event itself and the winning method, Uriah Hall by KO, that's 300, plus 300 odds. So, I will say the one thing I do worry about is Hall's gas tank. Let's see that. So it's only minus 175 odds for it to not go the distance. I really like that. If you're taking Sean, I would strongly encourage you to take that bet. Again, this is going to be a 5-round fight, championship rounds. If it gets out of the second round, I think the fight probably swings in favor of Sean. But, I kind of like Uriah Hall to put him away early. He's extremely dangerous on the feet, possesses great power. Big fan of him coming up on The Ultimate Fighter. I forget what the guy's name was. Maybe it was Andy or something, but he roundhouse guy, kicks this guy in the side of the head. Oh, it was that spinning heel kick. That's what it was. Kicks the dude in the head, and then he's obviously unconscious on the mat. And they just pan the camera on Uriah, and he's like, sorry, Andy. Just kills this guy, and he's just like, I'm so sorry, Andy. Super nice guy. I'm hoping he's overcome some of the mental obstacles he's faced in his career. He's talked a lot about how, stepping in the octagon is the scariest thing in the world. But I think he's starting to really buy into his own hype after the wins over Silva and Chris Weidman. I think he's really starting to believe in himself and understand that he belongs in the top 10 of this division for a long time. Really would like to see him get on a winning streak, maybe beat Sean Strickland, get a shot at a top 5 opponent, and then who knows? It'd be sick to see him in that conversation with some of the really good fighters at the top of this division. 185. So let's see. Is that Izzy? Yeah. So, I mean, we've seen him fight Whitaker. We've seen him fight Costa. He got knocked out by both of them. But, I mean, those are two extremely high-level guys. And at least in the Paulo Costa fight, I think he just got gassed out, to be perfectly frank. I think Costa pushes kind of a weird pace, and he just throws bombs. So, if he's got good cardio and he's ready to go 5 rounds tomorrow night, that'll tell me a lot about Uriah. So I'm really looking forward to that fight. And that'll wrap up the card. So it's in Vegas. I think the main card starts at like 8 p.m. tomorrow. I don't know why they're doing it a little bit earlier, but really looking forward to watching some of these prospects. Probably going to take notes during it, to be perfectly frank. At least mental notes, as I'm watching the fight. Hopefully we get a emerging star out of this that we can remember for a future. Who do I got? Oh, is this Jimmy? What's up, man? Gaethje or Chandler? So I was really impressed with Chandler's first round against Oliveira, and then I think he got caught. I think Gaethje's gonna eat him up. Gaethje's a good wrestler, good in the stand-up. All Chandler has really is that overhand right, it seems like, as far as the stand-up, and then obviously is a very physical specimen. I don't know. I'd kind of be curious to see the Gaethje versus Khabib fight again. Rewatch that, just to see how Gaethje deals with, a guy who's going to wrestle the whole time. But I think I like Gaethje in that fight. I tend to like the guy who's better in the stand-up game always. So I think I like Gaethje. Thanks for asking the question, and thanks for tuning in. Blown 247. Appreciate it, Jimmy. I think that's going to wrap up our show. Unless you want to hang out for a little while, Jimmy, and you can type. You can type, and I'll just keep talking. What other fights? Oh, I think they announced the Covington against Usman, too. And I saw some bullshit on ESPN's website. Some asshole over there fucking wrote some article, and it's totally politically motivated. It is, about like how it's not even worth booking the fight. Colby versus... Oh, yeah, I like Usman too. But some bullshit saying Colby versus Usman, one wasn't a good fight. And it's not even worth booking the second fight. Like, that was a great fight. I mean, that was arguably like 3-2. I thought a 3-2 Usman decision and then he broke Colby's jaw. So, but I thought it was a good fight. And then they posted a picture of Colby getting his eye cut open after getting headbutted by Usman. It was just the most ridiculous thing. Stop. Colby shouldn't get another shot. He whomped Woodley. I mean, Woodley's gone. Who's he fighting next? Jake Paul? So So Masvidal's probably not going to get another shot at the title. I think that's realistic to say. And I think if Colby doesn't win this fight, he's going to have to sit on the sidelines for a while because there's other guys who deserve title shots, like, probably Leon Edwards. I'm curious what Hamzat's going to come back in the second half of this year. And there's a dude who's just got so much momentum behind him. So, like, we could potentially be seeing, like, Hamzat versus Usman in the second half of next year. I think that'd be crazy. Who else is in that? Wonder Boy? Hell no. Gilbert Burns? Probably not. Like, I mean, maybe after this fight, depending on what happens. But also for Colby, he said he wants to fight Dustin Poirier after he fights against Usman. That's who he called out, was Poirier. Very crazy. Yeah, he says Poirier walks around the facility. They were teammates in Florida, and he walks around the facility weighing 190. So he says, like, it wouldn't be too absurd for him to call out someone like him. I think that'd be interesting. Colby would probably win that one, though. So, yeah, I'll hop on Monday night, review the show. Jimmy, if you're working or anything, or if you want to just tune in, I'll try and do them around 7 o'clock typically. I was just out with the girlfriend and her family. I love you, boy. That's my Yoel Romero. See you soon, boy. All right, that was fun. Appreciate it, Jimmy. To everyone else, that's my friend Jimmy. Shout out to Jimmy. Have a good night. I'm also gonna sign off. There's not a whole lot of activity on here besides Blown 247 writing to me. But have a good night, everyone. As always, appreciate if you like the video, subscribe. You could comment some shit. We can have cordial debate within the chat. And I might tell you to go fuck yourself. You might tell me to go fuck myself. But as long as it's cordial and it's out of respect and love, it's all fair game. So as always, I love you. Good night.